The story that has shaken Hollywood is not just a headline. It's a devastating reminder that behind fame, legacy, and decades of success, some of the deepest battles are fought quietly, behind closed doors, often by parents who feel powerless watching their children struggle. Just 1 week after Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle Reiner were found dead in their Brentwood home, actor Michael Douglas stepped forward to share a deeply personal truth. Appearing in a CBS News special titled Rob Reiner, Scenes from a Life, Douglas revealed that his bond with the legendary director was built not only on professional respect, but on shared pain, the kind that never leaves a parent. As the world continues to process the shocking details surrounding the deaths of Rob and Michelle Reiner, Michael Douglas' words have added an emotional dimension that reframes the tragedy entirely. This is no longer just a story about loss. It is a story about love, fear, guilt, endurance, and the unbearable weight parents carry when addiction enters their family. Authorities have confirmed that Rob Reiner and Michelle Reiner were found dead inside their Brentwood home, a discovery that immediately sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. In the days that followed, their son, Nick Reiner, was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in connection with their deaths. The 32-year-old had reportedly struggled for years with substance abuse, homelessness, and instability, issues that deeply affected his family long before the tragedy unfolded. While much of the public reaction focused on the shocking nature of the charges, Michael Douglas offered a perspective rooted not in judgment, but in empathy. He spoke not as a celebrity, but as a father who had lived through a similar nightmare. In the CBS News special, Douglas revealed that he and Rob Reiner confided in each other during some of their darkest moments. Both men were raising sons battling drug addiction, and both were grappling with the same painful questions: how far do you go to help, when do you step back, and how do you survive the fear that you might lose your child no matter what you do? I also had a son who had drug issues, Douglas said, referring to his son Cameron Douglas. I'm happy to say he's overcome them and is living a prosperous life. But that hopeful outcome came after years of chaos, heartbreak, and public scrutiny. Cameron Douglas' struggles were widely documented, including arrests, incarceration, and repeated attempts at recovery. For Michael Douglas, watching his son spiral while the world watched was a uniquely isolating experience. Fame offered no protection, only more exposure. Every relapse, every headline, every setback became public property. It was during this period that Douglas and Reiner found common ground. According to Douglas, they spoke often about the realities of parenting a child with addiction. Not in interviews. Not at industry events. But privately, as 2 fathers trying to survive something no amount of success prepares you for. We did talk a lot about that, Douglas shared. What you can do as a parent, what you can't do. Those words carry immense weight. They reflect the painful acceptance that there are limits to parental control, a truth that feels almost unbearable when your child's life is at risk. Douglas explained that these conversations weren't about solutions. They were about survival. About understanding that love alone cannot cure addiction, and that sometimes the hardest thing a parent can do is accept their own powerlessness. What makes this revelation even more heartbreaking is what Douglas said next. With all of that going on behind the scenes, he explained, this was a man who always gave it his best. To the public, Rob Reiner was a towering figure in Hollywood, a director, producer, and storyteller responsible for some of the most beloved films in cinema history. He was respected, admired, and seen as steady and accomplished. Very few people knew the emotional weight he carried home with him each night. Michael Douglas reflected that only now, in the aftermath of this tragedy, are people beginning to realize how much pressure Rob Reiner was dealing with in his personal life. The constant worry. The fear of late-night phone calls. The exhaustion of hoping for progress while bracing for setbacks. Nick Reiner's struggles were not entirely hidden. In 2016, he collaborated with his father on the film Being Charlie, a semi-autobiographical project inspired by his experiences with addiction, rehab, and relapse. At the time, the film was seen as raw and courageous, a father using his platform to give his son a voice, and a son attempting to confront his demons publicly. In hindsight, the film feels even more painful. Nick Reiner reportedly battled addiction for years, experiencing homelessness despite his famous upbringing. His story stands as a stark reminder that addiction does not discriminate. Wealth, privilege, and opportunity cannot shield families from its reach. Michael Douglas' comments have shifted the conversation away from spectacle and toward humanity. Rather than focusing solely on charges and headlines, his words ask the public to consider the unseen suffering that often precedes tragedies like this. This is not a story about Hollywood excess. It is a story about parents who loved their child deeply, tried to help him, worried endlessly, and still found themselves facing an unimaginable outcome. Douglas' reflections also highlight a truth many families live with silently, that addiction reshapes relationships, creates constant fear, and leaves parents trapped between unconditional love and impossible choices. As Hollywood mourns Rob and Michelle Reiner, Michael Douglas' tribute serves as a sobering reminder that even the most successful lives can be shaped by private battles no one applauds. And perhaps the most haunting part of Douglas' words is not what he said about addiction, or even about tragedy, but what he revealed about resilience. That despite everything, Rob Reiner continued to show up, continued to create, continued to give his best, even while carrying a burden few ever knew existed. In the end, Michael Douglas didn't offer answers. He offered honesty. And in doing so, he transformed a shocking tragedy into a deeply human story, one that forces us to look beyond fame and ask how much pain people carry in silence. Because sometimes, the strongest bonds are formed not in moments of triumph, but in shared suffering, whispered conversations between parents who understand that love, no matter how powerful, cannot always save the people we love most.